in today's video, I wanted to show you how I did this design for my birthday. And actually, when this video goes up, it's truly my birthday, so it ended up working well. And this is also the first time that I tried to do acrylic nails on myself. I was kind of scared, but I feel like it ended up looking good. But before we start using acrylic, you guys know that it's so important to prep well the nails. And for today's video, I'm gonna start by doing a Russian manicure. To do this, you guys are gonna need an e-file and also about 3 different types of beads because they all serve different purposes. If you guys want me to, I can do a separate video and I can explain you more so in depth. But if you guys are not experienced doing this, what I recommend you to do is to use a cuticle pusher and push your cuticle upwards until the nail is pretty clean. What this is gonna do is that it's gonna lift the cuticle up, and then it's going to be much easier for me to cut it off and make sure that it's clean. Taking off the cuticle is very important because otherwise when you start applying acrylic, what can happen is that the nail can end up lifting. But basically what I did is that I used the first bead and I used different directions to start lifting the cuticle. And with the second one, I'm still gonna lift it, but I'm also gonna make sure that I'm cutting it off. And now with the last bead that I'm gonna be using to do this manicure is that I'm gonna make sure that everything is well polished. This is actually one of my favorite steps because I feel like it makes the cuticle look much better, much lifted and cleaner. So something important that I didn't mention is that when you guys are doing this step, it's important that the speed is not too high because what can happen is that your nail can end up being damaged and also your skin. And this is how the cuticle ended up looking. I think that it looks so pretty and lifted, and like you guys can tell, there's no cuticle left behind. Before we continue, make sure that the nails are filed because if they're too long, it's going to be really hard to apply the form. Now that the nails are short, I'm gonna start filing the actual nail. And here, make sure that you don't file too much because it's not completely necessary. Just need it to be a little bit rough so we can apply the acrylic. And this is how it looks like. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add a layer of this nail prep. And now that this is done, I'm still gonna apply another layer of primer because what this is gonna do is that it's gonna take off the natural oils that we have on our nails. And yes, now everything is done and we can start getting the form ready. You guys know that I always like to do these cuts on the side because they serve me as a guide for me to know where I have to apply the acrylic. Now I'm gonna start building up this first nail, and here what I'm gonna do is a pretty simple design. I'm gonna apply the first bead between the natural nail and the form, and here I'm only gonna be using this really pretty pink acrylic. In this tutorial, I'm mostly gonna be using pink tone, so if you guys don't like that, of course you can switch it up and choose another color. But here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna keep pushing the acrylic down until it's about M size kind of. I didn't want to make these nails too long because like you guys know, this is the first time that I tried to do acrylic nails on myself, so I didn't want them to be too long. And basically what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna finish up building this square nail, which I don't think I mentioned before, but I'm doing square shaped nails. And now that I have that done, I'm gonna apply some pressure on the sides. On this second nail, I'm gonna be doing something a little bit more extra. I'm gonna be using this really pretty pink shine that I think I already used in some of my other tutorials. But basically what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create this type of ombre nail between this pink shine and a solid color. I'm gonna start by creating small beads of crystal clear acrylic, and like you guys can tell, I'm mixing it with the pink shine because otherwise it's not gonna stick and it can eventually fall off. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna build it up until it's like half of the nail so I can start applying the pink acrylic. Here what I did is that I applied a bit of the pink acrylic and I kept pushing it downwards until both colors mixed. When you guys are doing ombre designs, the most important thing is that both colors melt. And to finish up, I'm still gonna apply some more of these pink sparkles. Before we're completely done, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna encapsulate the pink sparkles using crystal clear acrylic that I told you earlier. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna make sure that everything is well covered because otherwise when we start filing, the sparkles can eventually fall off. And of course, I'm still gonna apply some pressure because what this is gonna do is that it's gonna make my nail look more natural. On this third nail, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna create an encapsulated French nail. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna use this pink acrylic and I'm gonna create this very small almond shaped nail that is gonna serve me as a guide. Now that I have this done, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take the form off and I'm gonna start filing the sides because I want everything to be symmetrical. Now that the nail is filed, I'm gonna apply the form, but make sure that it's completely straight and symmetrical because otherwise what can happen is that this nail can end up being crooked. And I'm gonna finish up building this French nail the exact same way that I've been telling you. I'm going to be mixing crystal clear acrylic with this pink shine, and I'm gonna keep applying it until it's the way that I like it. And to finish up, I'm gonna apply some more of this crystal clear acrylic to encapsulate the pink sparkles. Make sure that everything is well covered so it can be easy to file. And just like always, I'm gonna apply some pressure on the sides so this French nail can look more natural. This fourth nail, I'm also going to be creating this type of ombre design between the pink sparkles and the solid pink. And here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be mixing crystal clear acrylic with the sparkles, and I'm going to be creating half of the nail. Little by little, what I'm doing is that I'm creating these small beads, and like you guys can tell, I'm using my brush to push the sparkles down. What you guys want to make sure here is that it doesn't end up being too thick because remember, afterwards we're still going to encapsulate this nail. And now that I have this first step done, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create pretty liquid beads of this pink acrylic, and I'm going to be mixing both of the colors together. And to finish up this fourth nail, I'm going to be encapsulating the pink sparkles by adding also pretty liquid beads of crystal clear acrylic, so it can be easier for me to cover up. Like you guys can tell, I'm going to apply some of this crystal clear acrylic on top of the pink. And now onto the last nail, which I almost never end up doing on my tutorials. But here I'm also going to be doing a pretty simple design, just like the first nail. I'm going to be using the pink acrylic, and like you guys can tell, I applied the first bead between the natural nail and the form, and slowly using my brush, I'm going to push the acrylic down until it's the shape that I like. A little tip that I have for you guys is to use the lines on the form so it can be easier for you to create the sides. And now that I have this done, I'm gonna apply the last bead, and here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna make sure that everything is well covered. Like you guys can tell, I'm pushing the acrylic upwards, up near the cuticle, but make sure that you don't touch the cuticle too much because that can actually cause lifting. And of course, to finish up, I'm still gonna apply some pressure on the sides. And this is how these nails look like. They don't look perfect because, like you guys know, filing is one of the most important steps. When I file nails, I like to start by filing the sides of the nail and finish up creating the shape. And since these are square nails, I'm gonna put the file completely straight. And this is how these nails look like you guys can tell, the sides are a lot more sharp now, and the only thing left to file is the surface. To do this, I usually like to use my e-file, but you guys can also do it with a regular one. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna file down these nails until they're pretty thin, and I'm also gonna make sure that there's no bumps left behind. And this is how the nails look like after filing them, but like you guys can tell, there's still a lot of dust left behind. And what I like to do is that I get a brush and I clean everything up. And now that the nails are clean, I'm gonna go ahead and add some shine with this top coat, which is one of my favorite parts of doing encapsulated nails and adding sparkles, because like you guys can tell, everything looks much better once you start applying it. What I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna apply this top coat on top of all of the nails, and like you guys can tell, you can see the ombre much better. You can see how both of the colors mix and it looks so pretty. And like you guys know, this type of top coat is a gel polish, so that means that it needs to be cured, but I'm not gonna cure it just yet because I'm still gonna add some more sparkles. And this is how the nails look like after adding the top coat. Like you guys can tell, you can see the colors much clearly now. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna start applying these stones because like you guys know, I wanted to add more shine. Of course, if you guys don't want to, you don't have to. But what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna be adding stones of different sizes. Like you guys can tell, I only added one on the first nail, and on the second one, I'm adding a bunch of them. And also what I'm going to be doing on this third one is that I'm going to be following the curved line that the French nail has. And to make these stones last longer, I'm going to cure everything for about 60 seconds. And this is how the design looks like. I think that it looks beautiful and I love all of the shine. Now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is that I'm gonna write down the number of years that I'm turning. The way that I'm gonna be doing this is that I'm gonna use this really thin nail art brush and I'm gonna write down the number 22 with this pink gel paint, just because everything has to be pink in this tutorial. And I'm gonna do it on the first nail that I created, and that's the reason why I left it so simple, is because I knew that I wanted to add the number 22. And of course, I'm gonna cure everything for about 60 seconds. And this is how the final design looks like. Honestly, it was very different to do my own acrylic nails, but I thought it was so much fun. If you guys want me to do these videos more often, let me know because I'm open to it. I hope that you guys liked this tutorial. If you did, please subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!